traders. Today I have a special guest with me, Bruce, coming from Bookmap, another partner that we added to Trade Pools, so you can enjoy it and have more opportunities and obviously see more improvement in your trading. As you know, we're always looking to improve you guys. So today we have Bruce from Bookmap that will share his knowledge and the features that Bookmap will provide you in order to become a better trader. How are you doing, Bruce?
Hi, good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Yeah. So before I hand it to you, let's talk a little bit about Bookmap and where you started. Give me a little bit of a background and why traders, there is a great buzz around you. Why traders like Bookmap so much?
Yeah. So, well, Bookmap is showing something that many of the other platforms simply are not. It is one of the main features is the heat map, which is showing where traders are lined up to take the other side of the trade. So most traders are looking at transacted volume, and they're looking at bar data for the most part, which can be very misleading and hides a lot of the activity. So Bookmap kind of gives you insight into that activity.
Nice. I myself, I used Bookmap for many years. When it came to Israel, basically, when first I heard about it, roughly 6-7 years ago, I guess, and I tried it, tested it. You see a lot of the liquidities that you, in most cases, won't see when you look at just a normal candlestick chart, and that's a huge benefit, especially comparing. I don't think there are any other softwares that do the same thing that you do. Right?
Yeah, not many. We were definitely one of the first, if not the first. And I can tell you a little bit about our background, which is rather interesting, and how we even came to this was because we were trading or developing algos, high frequency algos, and trading the market. And this a rudimentary version of Bookmap was developed to visualize the algo performance, and from that, this was then shown to some other traders, and they really liked the visualization of the market, and they said, if you make that into a platform, we would buy it, and that's really what kicked it off, right there.
Amazing. So let me give you the share screen button, and you can go ahead and start showing the guys how it would look like and how exactly can they use it to their trading. It's mostly for day trading, by the way, or you can also use it.
Yeah, you can also swing trade. I can go through that in an example here, but let me. Okay, I'm trying to share the monitor, not the app.
Do you have the green share screen?
Show all windows. Yes, I do.
You should have it.
Let me try it again here. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll have to flick back. That's okay. All right. So just a quick bio and who I am over at Bookmap. So I'm the lead educator over at Bookmap. We have many different traders as well within our network using Bookmap and presenting all the time. But my background here, I've been trading for about 15 years, a variety of markets. I'm the order flow specialist here at Bookmap and lead the education with the expertise in the order flow and market microstructure. My contact information, Bruce at Bookmap on our Bookmap Discord, and then my Twitter handle is @FlowOrder. And then just a couple of disclosures I'll go through just in case. General disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let me jump now over to the Bookmap app and share that. Okay. All right, there we go. And Michael, should I just do kind of an overview of Bookmap and what exactly it's showing here?
I mean, the best way possible that the traders can use it and understand it, obviously it's a complex way, but try to just showcase the features that the traders can see or use in order to perform well.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Well, let's take a look at Tesla. And then what I had mentioned before about what Bookmap is showing that other platforms are not. It's showing where people are lined up to trade is one of the main features, and that's displayed in the heat map here. These bands of color here are liquidity, and it is clearly showing here in Tesla that these bands of liquidity are transacting with these big red dots, and price is now starting to kind of level out down here around 278. But before I jump into all of that, let's just take some of these elements off the chart and go through one at a time here. What are we looking at? So the just a moment. And I want to show just candlesticks because this is the view that most of us are looking at, something like this. And we'll just look at just for the demo here, we'll do I don't know, a couple minutes. It's fine. And look at a candlestick chart here. Now we have a subchart here with the cumulative volume delta and other indicators, but let's just go over the basics here in Bookmap. All right, so in a candlestick chart, this is what most of us are looking at, some sort of bar data. And bar data is, in my opinion, or I think it's really kind of holding or withholding a lot of information. You're only getting 4 data points on your bar data. Now, maybe that's okay for like a daily chart or a weekly chart, but for an intraday chart, I don't think it can be very helpful. And here's why. You only get open, high, low, and close. This period here for the day doesn't really matter. Who cares? I mean, for a daily chart, though, that makes a little bit more sense. Anyway, open, high, low, and close is we don't know how much volume traded, with who did it trade, with whom, and what about other price action? We just know that there was a big bar here and another big bar. So we can break that down immediately with the first element on the Bookmap chart, and that is just showing best bid and offer. And this is pure streaming price action. And this is going to show you all the details in here. So for example, it actually did kind of drop. There's a little bit of a little wave in here. You can see a pullback, a couple pullbacks in here. 1, 2, and then 3 actually. So you can start to understand like these areas in here can actually be really good areas to retest and see if when we turn on the volume, you'll see what I mean. But you can see there's actually a retest here on this one. So price dropped here. Based, went sideways for a little bit, dropped again, retested back from where it dropped, and it didn't find any more buyers to take it higher. When we turn on the volume, we'll see that, and then it dropped again. So sellers remain in control, but that's what happened within these bars here. It doesn't matter if we're looking at 2 minute, 1 minute, 5 minute, whatever. It's still going to be aggregated data. It might be a volume bar. It might be a Renko or range bar. It still doesn't matter. It's still aggregated data within that period. Now, so we're already breaking down the price action and getting more insight just by looking at best bid and offer. If we turn on the next element in the Bookmap chart, that will be the volume. And we can see precisely where transactions are taking place within the price action. And this is very indicative of a trending market right here. So we see the red dots and we see green dots. Red dots are market sell orders hitting the bid and transacting on the best bid and maybe sweeping the book lower if they can trade through that liquidity. The bigger the dot, the more that transacted. You can get the exact price action by hovering over it and see precisely what traded within this dot here. It gives you the date, time, what was on the ask, and the spread as well, and then the volume that transacted. So a green dot is a market buy order. This is what lifts the offer and moves price upward. And you can see in this trend to the downside, there's very little buying and basically complete exhaustion here, no buying whatsoever. And then this is where we see sellers come in and take the market lower. We see a bit, maybe it's a bit covering, maybe it's buyers that are just in too early, and maybe they're covering on the way back down. So these would be trapped buyers. But nonetheless, we know that there's not too much buying and there's a lot of selling. And this is what's driving that market lower. Okay, we can start to see and start to understand the volume within the price action. Okay, so these little pullbacks in the price action, we understand the sellers are still in control. Sellers still in control, still in control. It's getting interesting here now. Here you can just see, do we see big sellers like we do in these areas down here? No. It starts to exhaust out. We start to see a bit of buying, start to see a bit more buying. Now we're testing, we're breaking a small structure here and testing a higher time frame structure, not much, but it is higher time frame structure here. It's just testing it here. We don't see the buyers take control above it yet. In fact, we're getting our answer here. There's a lack of buying here, and we see the sellers take this market down. Okay, so now we're basing down here in this area. And again, now we're starting to see some buyers come in. So, and this is pretty strong buying. All right, so if that is the case, and it's testing this small structure here, well, then maybe it can come up and test this swing or up here, again, at this area where it failed previously. Okay, we would look for the buyers to try to lift the offer up into those areas. Okay, and that's how you can start to project and look for some of these moves to take place by understanding just these two elements, and that is volume within the price action. Okay, now that's great. However, there's an element that is still missing here. Who's taking the other side of the trade? And we want to get that context and that understanding, because, for example, maybe there is just a stack of limit sell orders up here. Price will never get up here. They'll try to absorb as much as they can and reload for on the sell side. So that's where the heat map comes into play here. So we can turn on the heat map now, and we can look and see, okay, well, this is where the majority of the sellers are up here at 278.5. We see, 5,890 contracts or shares up there. And you can see the buyers have appetite for that. So they want to trade into this area here. Okay, and there they go. There's the transaction. Okay, so we saw this move start to unfold, and we started to project where price might go, because we saw the buyers come in, starting to break some structure. If they can continue to buy, this is the next stop would be here at this 78.5 area. Now, we can further this analysis. Is there still buying pressure? Yeah, there is. There's still buying here. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, didn't exhaust out up here. Well, the next area would be 279 then. Okay, so now let's just cover here, and let's not get too, I don't want to get too far ahead here. What we're looking at though with this liquidity heat map and how it's derived. In fact, let's take the candlestick chart off because it just kind of gets in the way. We don't candlestick analysis with Bookmap works great. However, let's just go over these elements without the candlestick. All right, so everything to the right of this vertical white line right here is the current market. These are the last transactions here. This is our best bid and offer and our spread, as you can see. This is our price ladder, and the COB column here stands for current order book. This is liquidity, and it is showing you where above current price, sellers are lined up with their limit sell orders to transact. This is where they want to deal. On the below current price action, this is the current market here with liquidity showing you where buyers want to buy at these levels with their limit buy orders. Now, what we do in Bookmap is we take this data here from the depth of market or your level 2, the current order book column, COB, and what we do is we turn it into a heat map form. So you can see there's almost 3,000 shares down here at 278, and it's this color here. What does the color mean? The scale is up here in the top center of the chart. Red and orange is very high liquidity. Here, we can undim it. Red and orange is very high liquidity, then yellow, white, blue, and then black is the least amount of liquidity. That's it. That's all it is showing. What's interesting here, though, is you'll see, if we zoom in a little bit closer, you'll see how this liquidity is always shifting and changing. They're always adding and pulling liquidity from an area. When it does, you can see it just went from kind of this oranges to yellow, back to orange again. That's the adding and pulling of liquidity. And that's all it is. It's nothing more. So what looks to be really kind of complex is actually very simple. We're just recording the history of the liquidity. So you can see it down here at 78.40. They just pulled. Okay, now there's just 100 shares down here, and it's pretty dark down here. But previously, there was over 1,000. There was 2,000 here, and that was this color at that time. And all we've done is recorded that activity here. But what this allows you to do is now have a context in understanding the auction. Where do they want to buy and how much do they want to buy? Really, is their intent to stay in this order book and transact? And did they transact or did they pull at the last minute? And this context here gives a lot of insight to where price might go next, or this reaction at this area to give insight that maybe we just trade into this area here and price is pretty happy at that area and stays at that area. Anyway, these are the 3 elements on Bookmap, and that's just the basics here. Michael, do you have any questions or anything you want to go through? I kind of belabored that one a little too long, I think.
No, I do have one question, maybe a bit more advanced, but how do you, as Bookmap, deal with spoofing, right? Or just showing liquidity and take it off? Because basically what you're showing right now on the chart is limit orders, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so
in the heat map.
Yeah. So how do you work with abusers, let's call them that, and try not to show something that is irrelevant?
Yeah. So, well, I think let's just start with one element here, and that is the liquidity that stayed in the order book, which you'll see a lot in stocks. That the larger players in stocks they'll just put their liquidity here at the open, and we'll see in about 5 minutes at the open, and I'll demo it for you. But here you can see pre-market, these guys absolutely had the intent to trade, and they did trade. So these are typically larger players with lots of limit buy orders all the way down. And we don't know if it's the same player, multiple players, whatever. However, we do know that they got filled.
Yeah.
So here we have a lot of insight. This is a downtrend. However, it is transacting into high liquidity all the way down. So we look for maybe a shift and a change by understanding that they got filled in here. So we start to look for, okay, well, a reversal pattern may unfold if there is no more selling. This is absorbing the selling pressure, these limit buy orders. So this context here we can take away and start to understand that. Buyers will certainly be in control if we can get back up above this 280 level here, at least with the data that I have in here in the pre-market. We don't know, though. At the open, it's going to change everything. There's so many transactions that take place.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll dump down into 77, 76, etc., 75. Now about spoofing, it just comes back to, did they have the intent to trade? So I don't really see a too good of an example in here. You can see some adding and pulling like here, and also here, that these, as price starts to come up toward them, they don't really want to be sellers here. They're kind of pulling and adding and pulling and adding. And then they just pull away and, they don't want to sell. Yeah. Now, a spoof would be something more along the lines of maybe trying to skew the order book by showing more demand with limit buy orders, but they have no intent to trade. Yeah. Maybe that pushes price up into an area where they do have an intent to trade. This isn't necessarily a spoof, but let's see if I can find a better example.
Well, while you're doing that, I also have another one. It's just something from my trading, so I'm asking those questions.
Sure.
Hopefully the guys at home also will enjoy the answer. In regarding to hidden orders or iceberg, how do you handle it, basically?
Yeah, so iceberg orders, well, we do have for futures, it's a different kind of data that from the CME we can receive that can show actually the native iceberg orders from the CME. Okay. We do not have that luxury with stocks. Yeah. The data just doesn't have the MBO or market by order data. However, we can mimic it in a few different ways. We do have a strength indicator that is here, strength level. And this shows transactions that took place that were over the amount of liquidity in the order book at that time. So then the assumption is that if 200 shares can trade up here, 204 shares, that was not in the order book, it must be an iceberg. But this indicator can give some false positives because it depends on the precise moment down to the nanosecond, which comes in first. And if the data stream from the orders versus the transactions is maybe just a little bit off, then we might get a false positive. We will get a false positive. Yeah. So anyway, that's one way. There's another way, and that is with we have a sweeps indicator here, absorption and sweeps. Actually, it's the absorption one, what this is an interesting one. It's very simple, there's our 9:30 cash open. Very simple. Within 0.01 seconds, show me transactions that were, greater than, like, let's say, suppose 10,000 here. We're going to have to bump that up quite a bit. Within this time frame here, and we can start to look at it's a really interesting indicator here, because if we take a look at it, let me just go to the automatic mode, and it's going to show 250,000 here, and we take a look at this here. So where do these transactions take place? Now here's the open. We would assume this is going to take place within high liquidity. Okay, no question about it. It has to, right? What if it doesn't? Well, if you see like a big dot and it does not take place within that liquidity, then we would assume that is an iceberg order, a hidden order, if that makes sense. So I'll try to find an example here, and I'll have to go to the manual mode. Let's look at, I don't know.
The default of those circles, those bubbles,
Mm-hmm.
is it something that the trader should define, or?
Well, yes. It depends on, you have a slider up here. It's just for your convenience to look at the size of the bubble. And as soon as this data goes out of the window, though, we'll see, it'll scale up.
Yeah.
It basically scales to what is the biggest in the this current market, or current window. If our window is smaller, you can see now the biggest transaction is maybe this one here. Anyway, try to show this absorption indicator again here. So it's maybe we've got to go down to like 4,000. And that's still too small. All right, let's go down to 1,000. All right, there we go. There's plenty. Okay, so maybe too many. All right, so down here, for example, well, pretty big transactions here. And it failed to move price lower. So that's not that many. I mean, we see, 2,200 trade here, but I don't see much liquidity here. So, well, how's that possible? All right, so potentially this is an iceberg or hidden order. Does that answer your question, Michael?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so it looks amazing. Obviously, the guys will start digging into it. Do you have, I guess you do have a lot of tutorials, right, that explain everything in depth?
Yeah, so I can go over that. We have all sorts of things, all sorts of materials, and let me see if I can show this we just have this new learning center we put together here.
Right.
So can you see this here? It's a browser.
Not yet.
Okay, it looks like I have to reshare. All right, hold on a minute. Okay, there we go. Now you can see?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let me show you how you get there. Just go to bookmap.com, and then go to the More button here, and then go to Learning Center. In the Learning Center, we have how to get connected, many different ways to connect to cryptocurrencies, stocks, and futures, and other markets like Brazilian futures and stocks, and Indian market as well. And then we have a getting started course here. So this course here, if you click on it, we'll go through the basics. So those 3 elements on the chart, here's a shorter video on it. And then adding different symbols, navigating around the chart and the different elements, displaying elements in here, etc. Volume dots. So you can see they're very short videos in here, and they will cover these topics here that majority of the traders have. That's what this course is all about for getting started.
Perfect. Amazing, Bruce. First of all, thanks so much for this overview. I'm sure the traders that will use Bookmap will find it very helpful. At the end of the day, especially for day traders that want to see the liquidity, needs to understand the order flow, that will be a great solution for you guys. So, like I said before, when you sign into Traderpool, you will automatically get a Bookmap user for those 45 days of evaluation, and just check it out, try it, obviously go through the course to understand exactly how to use it properly, and best of luck. Thanks so much, Bruce.
All right. Thank you, Michael.